And we are live. Yes. And just to let you know in the beginning here, excuse me, but it's nothing I can do about it. It's very, very windy today. But as you see, an excellent day. It's so nice. You can seriously tell the spring has arrived. I seriously could say that now. Spring has arrived with certainty. And I was going to go for a walk. I was thinking about going somewhere else actually, like take the train to the ocean maybe. But apparently they are doing a lot of construction or something with the railway or whatever, so everything is changed with replaced with bus. And I was kind of like, whatever. I go for a walk in my hometown here. And then I started to think about, why not make a little walk and talk? Since I do get a lot of ideas or just thoughts coming up, as I'm walking. And this is sort of a continuation, if you wish, for my last live I did a couple of days ago. Just me talking on different topics that I think about. So I'm now just entered the cemetery where I thought I would go for a little stroll. And I have to be honest, I kind of like going through cemeteries. Wherever I go, wherever I live in the world, I enjoy just taking a walk through the cemetery once in a while. Not that I really have a thing for going to the cemetery, but I do enjoy it at times. I don't know, it's a quietness, it's peaceful, and I just enjoy walking and reflecting my thoughts, I guess. I remember when I lived in another town here in Sweden a while ago. Hey. I remember that I used to go. This was when I was studying before my undergraduate, I believe. And I used to go to cemetery in the autumn and just bring some drinks and sit in the night or in the late evening. Not really the night, but kind of. Basically just sit there and listen to podcasts or even making videos. I believe I have some videos from there. Let's see, let's change here now so you can see me instead, me talking. So I don't really have a weird obsession or anything about going to the cemetery. It's just somewhere I can go like a day like this. Perfect. And then I will go to another place also. But I've been thinking now recently, specifically because I research about, I guess you could say, I research a bit about drugs recently. Nothing weird or anything. It's just I know that because drugs and criminality they go hand in hand. And I was going to express my opinion on this because it's a very, very big topic here in my country or wherever you are, in the world. If the government if the government is not taking the market, the shares basically of drugs in particular, there's going to be because it's a subculture, there are going to be other people who live in this environment with drugs, probably using a lot themselves, but also people that are making business of it. So if the government not taking this share, criminality will, and that's just how it goes. So what I've been researching recently is the thing about, for example, with marijuana. That is a huge market apparently here, or anywhere in the world. And people just have bad arguments, I think. We cannot legalize because it's going to make the criminals taking making a more profit from the harder drugs, from the hard drugs. And that may be true, that it may be an increase in hard drugs, because what else are they going to sell? I mean, the criminals will still sell marijuana, for instance, even if the state is legalizing it and taking that market and making it into a monopoly, for example. But I also think it's a bad argument to say that they are just going to start selling more hard drugs, because that will also always exist. And here's to the thing about where am I standing in this actually? What is my honest opinion on drugs? One part of me is like, I have nothing against it, but I also don't want it to be completely legalized and people start using it everywhere. I don't think that definitely that will increase in a lot of like side issues, side effects and problems for a lot of people. That, for example, there are people that is over abusing alcohol, for example. If you legalize other drugs, people are going to overuse that also. But I still don't think that is an argument for not at least decriminalize drugs, because if people want to do it, they will find a way to do it, and that's why there is a market for it, obviously, and it's the wrong people controlling it. Because do we want drug lords? Do we want people to get shot? Like in this country, for example, the crime you can. I mean, I don't think really there is that visible, the crime, but the crime is seriously bad when it gets to the gang wars here in the south, or all over basically. And it's a very, what should I say, it's a very infected kind of issue that could be dealt with, it could be dealt with by actually, at least, I mean, now Portugal is a good example, but some people is arguing that that is also not good. And there are of course sides of that is bad, because we should not like make it okay. We should not kind of have the argument of making it all right to start using. But then again, my honest opinion, I think I didn't even get to it. But yeah, I have no problem. I have no problem with whatever you put in your own body. Probably you shouldn't do it openly. I mean, I don't want to see a society where there's normalized and people are using drugs on the street. But when it gets to marijuana, for example, if I see somebody on the street smoking it or whatever, I don't see an issue with it. I probably wouldn't want to see it like around if I'm out somewhere and I'm having like a drink or a dinner and somebody, like in Portugal for example, you can see like next to you in a cafe. I probably wouldn't want that. But like what you do, I think now Germany, I read this, like I said, I've been researching this the last days a bit. Germany seems to be legalizing up to, for own use, to keep like 25 or 30 grams of marijuana in your home for own use. And I seriously don't see the issue with if you would like to do that. Would I want to do that? Like, no, it wouldn't be for me just because it becomes legalized. Maybe I wake up one day and I just felt, maybe I would like to try to do that, or have an amount of grams home for whatever use, for whatever purpose, creativity or health benefits or whatnot. But I don't think that people is like, if you did the same with other hard drugs, legalized, I don't think people would just suddenly wake up and okay, now I'm gonna go and buy in a dispensary and keep hard drugs in my home. But probably a lot of people would do it for what do you say, occasional purpose and parties and whatnot, because they have made research here how much they have found like traces of I think it's cocaine in the what people flush down the toilets and stuff, and it's been increasing like every year a lot of percentage. So that is definitely some kind of thing to take into consideration. So I cannot honestly say if I think it would suddenly be good to just legalize everything. No, I don't think it's the way to go. It certainly is not. But with the case with marijuana, decriminalize, consider people to have it for own purpose, or what say, own personal use was the word I was looking for. That is like so many countries done that. And some people have a bad argument, they say that, but the criminals will take over the dispensaries then. No, it's not gonna happen. It has to be controlled, like the same thing with the weapons industry. It was somebody said, if the government is not taking over that industry, there are other people that will do it. And then you think whatever you want about weapons and guns, But come on, I think also read that, this is kind of funny. I don't remember exactly who this historical person was, but they have traced the oldest documented person they could find documented using marijuana was like dated back 2800 years BC, before Christ. It's like freaking 5,000 years ago or whatever. And now we are here in 2024 taking people into custody and throwing people into jail because of that. And I think there's a lot of propaganda, to be honest. A lot of propaganda also in regards to other drugs, that it will make you antisocial, it will make you, like, your cognitive functions very poor developed, and you will be having mental issues. And not to say that there is. I mean, it exists from drinking. It exists from. I should rather say it's effects of poor health in general. But I think we have bigger threats than saying that whatever you choose to put in your body, of course, in moderation, there are way more challenging problems arising now, I would say, considering with technology and people in power and lobbyism. Like, how are we going to go from where we are now, considering how everything is increasing and it's getting just tougher and tougher to get a job? I actually wanted to go to this little church here. I kind of like this one. Yeah, it's just really a nice spring day today. But it's been interesting to research about, one of these. I don't know if you can pick that up. They are nice. Yeah, but about the future, where we're heading, I think I kind of talked about it the other day. I feel very mixed emotions about where we're actually heading with, to say the truth, artificial intelligence. I know I'm not gonna be one of those that are like complete doomer about it, but I know it's a threat, and we can adjust. We can make it work for us. But as long as you have people that are only thinking about their own personal benefit from it, it's going to change just so much about how we interact with data, how we interact with information. I mean, I can tell you honestly that the 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 fact or the actual true issue with artificial intelligence is that you are not going to be able to tell what is real or not. Just let's get down to the facts. Or facts. I mean, let's just get down to what it will do, you know. It's the fast rapid evolution or development of being able to actually make deep fakes. You can't tell the difference if you're seeing a video later and it's your brother, your sister, or your relative. You will not be able to pick up because of the amount of data that is like distributed into this output, which is the deepfake. Through the input and then out, you cannot tell. We are already kind of there, but then think about like 1 year from now, and 2 years from now, and then 2030, like 6 years from now. It's going so fast. Can you believe it? I felt like, of course, 4 years ago, when after that it changed so much. I mean, I feel really that it's a huge change, that everybody wanted to go back to normal. But what is normal again? Are we really going back to... I don't think we're going back to a normal. There is a new normal, and maybe that's why everybody has also talked about like a big reset. And we're in the midst of it, I guess. Oh, it's kind of confusing when you're thinking what will be a secure future or career and stuff with these changes. Anyway, I kind of want to get out from here. But we can walk over there actually. It's kind of relaxing to walk here today. But then I read something else, which was about, it was this morning. And it's funny because I'm writing kind of a paper on this, about urban planning and failed state initiatives to make like projects that does not consider local communities and does not consider cultural practices and local knowledge, and just drive right over them to plan like a city or some development project or some kind of NGO or for some cause. It can be anything, but in particular what came to mind when I read this article about China, who is buying a lot of land. They're buying up a lot of land, and I'm speaking internationally, but in China in particular, there's one town, I can't pronounce the name and I don't really remember it either. But if you did not hear about this, just search, like it's a ghost town essentially, but they rechanged or they rebuilt one city to make it look like Paris. Like seriously, it literally looked like Paris in terms of Eiffel Tower and also in terms of architecture. And the fun thing about it is they are building these cities just to seem to have something to do, but there is nobody living in these cities. The people that are in these cities are just the locals that used to be like farmers or whatever, and sitting there with with this, like they don't fit in. They have just changed the background. And that is a great example of these state initiatives failed basically to make like a development project to seem to make like a wealthy economy run around, but then essentially they are just not considering what the actual local community needs, because all of these are construction projects and so on. This money goes just back straight up to the top and through some politician middle hands. But it's so funny. It was National Geographic actually, and it was kind of funny when I read that China's imperialism is like trying to make, trying to put their world in China. And of course, the US, think about Nevada, think about Las Vegas, for example. They also have a Eiffel Tower there, which they made kind of into a hotel or casino or something like that. And that is, in a way, also trying to, I don't know, colonize. I'm trying to look for the correct word. Like putting architecture of other cultures into the American land. But I still think it's way different, considering they are just making, like, in one city they are putting a lot of well-known, yeah, the Eiffel Tower for instance, like a cultural landmark, and they're making a hotel out of it. I mean, you could argue like they are doing the same like China now, but China literally making a whole city look like Paris. Yeah, I don't know. China is interesting and very creepy in many ways. How they are buying up a lot of land in Africa. They are buying up a lot of land actually in the United States also. And there's one specific, I went to a seminar for some time ago. It was during last autumn. In the fall I went to a seminar. There was this PhD candidate. She was making a very interesting paper on something related to religion and China's infrastructure. How China used religion, and keep in mind, China is actually atheists. Everything their beliefs are into about, you are going to put your belief into the state. That is their philosophy, and of course they have a tradition in Taoism, but it's not like that is practiced on that level. Everything is about the state there. So what they do, Chinese government and some government officials, is that they use, for example, this was in relation to Sri Lanka. It's called, what is it called? The Belt Road. That is going to stretch. It's like this imperialistic network, trade network. And they use, in this case, Sri Lanka, to kind of give them a lot of gifts, religious gifts, and also in financial, as a way to connect more and more to be dependent on China, if you want to be like very harsh. She was talking about this, was very interesting seminar. So they are doing all these sneaky things, like tricky, through using religion and people's beliefs to kind of lure them in and be under the umbrella of, or the what is that called? It's the tentacles, imperial tentacles. And of course, I mean, they are not the only one been doing that. We have US have had their, and also way back in time we've had other huge big powers. They've done that. I mean, think about England, think about France. But this is another method. Now we're on another kind of, this is another scale. It's total another level. How many minutes am I now? 24. Yeah, I'm just having a walk today and then go back to continue with my projects and my stuff I gotta do. It's so windy. But there was one more thing I was thinking recently, just to bring up also, is I'm going to sound like this old person. Today's youth, they don't know anything. No, but seriously, they don't know what's coming. If you think about it, is it Generation Z, or is the next coming one Generation Alpha, who are growing up like with the screens like here, you know? like me now, but in their baby wagons and trolleys, you know. And I was like on the outside. I grew up and I knew, I don't know, I had this moment when I was in the car. I don't know how old I was, maybe I was 9. It was probably after my parents bought the first computer for the home. Yeah, maybe I was like 7, 8, 9. I was 13, I think, when I had my first phone. You know, this, not a smartphone, obviously. And sorry for the wind, I mean, I can't do much about it. Yeah, I can go here to take shelter, actually. Just one moment. Yeah, and then I kind of thought about how this is going to be so big. I was just thinking to myself, this is going to be so revolutionizing, actually, and it is. So it's interesting to have been on the outside in terms of knowing what it's like to go out in nature and build a tree house, playing in the fields and all this classic stuff, you know. But also knowing how powerful technology is. But growing up with like AI and growing up with how this is creepy stuff, you know. Growing up and having a reality created for you that is shaped for you, what does that do to people actually? I mean, it is a matrix. That's what it get. That's really what happens, I guess, when they if there are seriously not going to be any kind of verifications of what we see and what are delivered for us in terms of news, any media, you know, that does stuff to us, and in a way we are already there, of course. But yeah, whatever. I get so tired of this conversation when I think about it, because it's, what do I know, you know? What do I know? But I mean, everybody, I think something basic I was taught is just try to look at different sources and make up your own opinion of it, you know. Make your own conclusion. That is very, very crucial. But today's youth, seriously, they don't, growing up like that, think about 10 years from now and having a conversation with a 10-year-old. Maybe they are going to be way, way more sharp and intelligent, I guess is relative, than I was when I was 10. Anyway, it's kind of depressing in a way. Yeah. See myself in the mirror here. I think they have an aquarium in here. Yes, they do. I remember. All right, guys, it's rolling up towards 30 minutes, and I'm gonna continue with my walk. And yeah, like I said, I'm gonna then go home with continuing with my projects. It would be interesting to share it for you eventually, but we'll see how I do. See how I'll do with this channel. And anyway, I feel like these topics and what I'm talking now that's very, very much what I want to do on this channel. Or if I made another one, you know, something talking about contemporary problems, issues, cultural challenges, if you wish. So that's what I look forward to doing. Yeah. Anyway, enjoy your day and thank you for listening. Bye.